Tapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh my Keperu with a new video for you. And in this video, the gangster, thug, drug dealer, archetype conspiracy, we're going to examine what's going on behind the scenes in major media. But before we do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can scroll down below and click on any one of the 4 ebook links. They're absolutely free. You can click on them and start reading today. But if that's not enough, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you, and you can cancel at any time. You will get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, videos on the spiritual nature of things, videos that will teach you how to meditate, the proper breathing exercises, how to put together a magical amulet for protection, how to contact the ancestors, how to invoke the spirits, and how to do astral projection. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So namaste, grand rising, Tapu. Now, I want to bring a couple of things up, and if this transmission is becoming problematic, please let me know. The powers that be don't want this message going out there, so they kind of mess with the transmission. But I want you to keep 2 things in mind. What does Cardi B and Biden meeting with Fat Joe and Kamala Harris? What is the meaning behind these things? And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to break that down into details. But it directly pertains to the subject matter at hand that we're going to be examining tonight. But before I get into that, I want to say that there is a segment of the Black community that has problems connecting the dots. They really don't understand a lot of things and how they work in the world. And yet it is those people who have been pushed to the forefront, and we are subject to their whims. And mainstream media accommodates to that lowest common denominator. But why? But why, one asks. Years and years ago, well, as my Native American brothers and sisters would say, many moons ago, I remember being in school. I went to an art school, and they had put out an ad because they wanted young Black men to come in for a photo shoot, and you would get paid and everything like that. So I showed up, and lo and behold, to my dismay, I was turned down. And as the weeks passed, they published the photographs in the magazine. It's for a major magazine. I wanted to see who they picked. And they actually picked one of my classmates. And right away, it struck me because I knew what they were looking for. You see, he was dressed as the B-boy, the kind of thuggish with the baggy jeans and all that. And I was like, at the time, interesting, very, very interesting. Cut to modern day. This happened about maybe 3 years ago. I remember coming back to my hotel room here in Las Vegas. And in the lobby, I met these, I think it was 3 Black women. And we struck up a conversation, and it was a really good conversation. And I was telling them how later I was going to a fashion show. And that because I had connections to who was putting on the fashion show and the models, I invited them, and even invited them to come backstage to meet some of the models. And well, I think it turned out I was dating one of the models, and she was from Australia. So the women said that they couldn't because they were meeting a friend. So I was like, okay. So next thing I know, this old ass Cadillac pulls up. I mean, this thing was just on its last leg. And sitting behind the wheel, and I hate to use this term, believe me, but I'm going to use it, was this dusty brother. And he looked to be the type you would look at him and say, this guy's up to no good. Just one of those type, you know. And the energy, because I go off a lot of energy, didn't feel right. So I didn't know at the time, but the girls knew the guy. And they politely said goodbye. And they jumped into his car and they left. And it clicked. I said, well, is that who they're hanging out with versus coming with me to a fashion show? So when you look at those two incidences put together, you have to understand the very underpinnings of how our world works. And this is governed by the goddess Sekert. She's the goddess of spiritual power. She's a powerful witch, a powerful priestess. And Sekert always wants to know what's going on beyond the surface. See, Sekert would be interested in not so much the exterior of a building, but the architecture drawings. What's under the building that's really holding everything up. And it was very curious as to what these girls classify as a fun night out. And what this media company what they thought was the average Black young kid. But then as I started to study film, journalism, and become more educated, it all kind of made sense. You see, we have a problem connecting the dots to understand the conspiracy that's all around us. I call it the elusive obvious. It's obviously in your face, but it's elusive. People don't see it. They don't pick it up. And as a people, I'm sorry to say this, but we are very slow sometimes. We are very slow. I remember talking about how I felt that Black Panther was emasculated. He was a very feminine version. To see a more masculine version, you just need to watch that HBO special that they did. It was an animation, and it was beautiful. Black Panther was strong. He was masculine. But when these movies came out, they flipped the script. He relied on his sister Shuri to be the brains. He wasn't that masculine. He wasn't that strong. I mean, hell, Killmonger beat him. But you see, this is subtle, but it's right in your face. An attempt to emasculate this superhero, to make him weak, dependent on other people. Not so much so that it's overtly obvious, but just enough that the conscious left brain doesn't pick it up right away. But the subconscious right brain picks it up. And your third eye picks it up. You see, Hollywood is not an independent institution. It is governed and ruled by third parties such as Tavistock, think tank institutions like the Rockefeller Foundation, the U.S. military. Yes, the U.S. military controls the types of films that Hollywood produces. The Council on Foreign Relations, Rockefeller Foundation, Tavistock. These are institutions that study the social sciences, study who we are, and then compute the way they want the world to be in 100 years, based on the agenda of the ruling elite, the Illuminati. They study you so that they can get an understanding of what makes you tick. Just like they found a report published by the tobacco industry who studied Black people. And in the report, it talked about how Black people suffer from low self-esteem. So they gear their products and their marketing, the cigarettes and the cigars, to seem like, you'll see the ad of a Black man smoking a cigar. He's a boss. He's a boss. Black woman smoking a cigar. She's a bitch boss. They hack the code of what makes you tick, and they feed you a campaign that services that. And that by buying this cigar or cigarettes, you now feel empowered. You don't feel like you have a low self-esteem anymore. They did. There's a popular video that just came out, which talks about the buying habits of Black people and how we like name brand quality items. This is why Black people are running around buying Jordans and Gucci. But I digress. Let's get back to the point here. You see, a conspiracy has taken place right under your nose, and you have gone along with it. A huge global, worldwide conspiracy has taken place and been thriving for decades. You see, these institutions, Hollywood, the think tank institutions, and Wall Street, State Street, Vanguard, have come together to craft an image, an archetype of Black men and Black women. That's right. And State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock would finance this new image, specifically of the Black male. And what they did right under your nose was to replace the image of the educated, politically astute, intelligent, clean-cut young brother and young sister. They purposely replaced that archetype with the gangster, thug, drug dealer avatar. In order to justify the prison industrial complex and locking up of young Black men, they had to first create and craft in the media the dangers associated with Black people. Black on Black crime, that they're out there robbing, raping white women, selling drugs. And we know that the biggest drug dealer in the world is the United States government. We know that the CIA is the one that put the drugs into Black communities on purpose. So there was this conspiracy of different parties to craft the image of Black people, Black men in particular. And to do this, they had to get rid of the educated Black man image, the archetype. And one of their targets was Black women. Because if Black women found attractive the educated, industrious, entrepreneur Black man, the hardworking 9-to-5 Black man, if Black women found that attractive, it'd be all over. So they had to play up the image in modern media of what was good for these women was the gangster, the thug, the drug dealer. So hence, Black women fell for it. And one of the things that made it easy for them to fall for it was the Welfare Act. And what is called the man in the house rule. I'm going to read from Google what this rule was all about. Under the man in the house rule, a child who otherwise qualified for welfare benefits was denied those benefits if the child's mother was living with or having relations with any single or married able-bodied male. The man was considered a substitute father, even if the man was not supporting the child. So in other words, the man couldn't be in the house in order for the woman to get the assistance, welfare. So she had to kick the man out. And what this resulted in is these young Black girls being raised in a household where they never saw what an educated, responsible Black man looked like. And because the media dictated the image of the Black man, what she thought was cool and could save her was the hustler, the thug, the drug dealer. And she hooked up with him. It worked. So right before our very eyes, they replaced the educated, morally upright, God-fearing, responsible Black man with this avatar of the gangster, the thug. And if you look at the pictures from the 60s, the 50s, what do you see? You'll see Black men dressed nice in suits. They wore ties. They had shoes, not sneakers. And Kevin Samuels was absolutely right when he said Black men need to stop wearing sneakers and wear shoes. And Black men should have at least one suit. When you look back at the pictures of the men from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, you'll see Black men dressed appropriately, ready for corporate America. And even when you look at the members of the Nation of Islam, they look great too. So this was not some made up thing to where there was no educated brothers, where there was no brothers who would dress nicely in suits and briefcase and all that. No, there were. They were throughout our communities. They were there. They were present. They were active. But that image had to be done away with and replaced. So they ushered in the films, which are propaganda, like Boys in the Hood. A whole proliferation of films like that. So that you would see nothing but drug dealers and thugs. If you think I'm lying, then research, go Google it now or go on YouTube, research Tupac Shakur. He was an educated brother who went to a nice university or art school, dressed nice, was respectful to women. But what did he find? What did he say? He couldn't get a woman. Ladies didn't respect him. But when he took on the thug persona, then he got money and he got women. This is coming from his own words. Because black women crafted in their mind what was a good black man. And if a brother stepped to them who was educated and sincere and honest, they called him an educated lame. An educated lame. There was a YouTube dating show. This sister, it's her channel, her show. And she had a very intriguing episode. I wish I could pull that up. Where this young black woman was given men to choose from. These men were suitors. And they would come on the show and talk about their background. And she would indicate if she was interested in them or not. One brother came on there, and this took place a while ago, so I don't remember. But let's just say, for argument's sake, he said he was a rocket scientist, and he worked in that capacity in some way, shape, or form. And not only that, she asked, what does he like to do? And he was like, well, I like to read. Remember the Gong Show where they had these acts come on and the acts were really bad? They would take the thing and hit the gong, boing. It's a funny show, right? Well, when he talked about that he was a rocket scientist and he liked to read, that young black woman picked up the thing and hit the gong, boing. And the host of the show was astonished. So much so that she came back to ask that girl what was wrong with him. He's intelligent, well-spoken, nice, sincere. And I don't remember her direct response. But she alluded to the fact that he had no swag, that he was dull. In other words, an educated lame. See, this has been the conditioning and the brainwashing of black women. To see a brother who's studying to be a doctor, a rocket scientist, a chemist, in finance, in technology, as boring, a lame. And that is dangerous to society to seed us with that notion. She's looking at the very men that are going to be at the top of the totem pole in terms of career-wise and income-wise as not suitable mates. But what does make her vagina wet is the thug swag gangster. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? That's something else. Let me just go back to, if I can find this clip, I doubt it, but this best illustrates my point. I doubt I'll be able to find it. My internet is running slow. So he was now. I'm trying to find his name, but for some reason it escapes me. Um, he was in the movie Creed. Was it? Let me just see. I got that right. Yeah, Creed. He was in the movie Creed. Um, yeah, exactly. Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan. This young brother has achieved success. A great actor, director. So he was on the red carpet at the premiere. I think it was Creed 3, right? And let's see if we can find this. Because this is a very interesting action. So I'm gonna see if I can and the interaction is here he is on the red carpet, and this young woman comes up to interview him, and it turns out that she was in this went to the same high school, and they were in the same class together. So let's watch this clip, all right? And we'll see this interaction because it made headlines. So some of you may remember this. From a while ago.
Back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
Corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure.
I heard it.
Michael B. Jordan calls out a former classmate for making fun of him, and it is awkward.
Oh, y'all trying to start drama over here.
The whole thing went down on the red carpet at a screening of Michael's flick Creed 3 in Atlanta, after he was approached for an interview by L'Oreal, the host of the Morning Hustle show, who reminded him they grew up together.
And, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
Corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure.
I heard it.
No, you did not hear me say. I said we used to make fun of the name. But yeah, he is obviously killing things out here.
Yeah, so that corny comment comes from a 2021 episode of the Undressing Room podcast, where L'Oreal, her co-host Eva Marcille, and Dominique DeDiva talked about the actor.
I think that Michael B. Jordan is just like a nice, corny guy. And I don't mean that as a slight, right? I mean, we all know that the nice, corny guys treat you the best.
To be fair, it was actually Eva who called Michael corny. But L'Oreal did admit that in high school, she used to make fun of him.
To be honest with you, we teased him all the damn time because his name was Michael Jordan. Let's start there. And he was no Michael Jordan. And then he also would come to school with headshot. We lived in Newark.
Yeah.
Like that's the hood. You know what I mean? So we would make fun of him, like, what you gonna do with your little stupid headshots? Like, and now look at him.
Well,
now, oh my God, there's so many things I could say about this. What's that woman's name? L'Oreal? Well, she is a complete idiot. But this tells you the programming that Black women have is under. You see, Michael B. Jordan said he remembered her. And he said the corny kid, because that's how they referred to him, as corny. That's how Black women referred to this guy who was running around with his headshots to become an actor. And lo and behold, realized his dream. And then even after he G-checked her on that, she still says, yeah, he was kind of corny, running around. I said, what are you going to do with your headshots? Making fun of this brother for doing something out of the ordinary, for not being a drug dealer, not being a thug, not hanging out at the corner bodega. Someone needed to slap the shit out of her for being so dumb. See, one thing you got to give it to white women, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. They are masters of hypergamy. Yeah, I said it. They know how to scope out a guy who's up and coming and to stick with him and to build with him until he becomes famous. And then they divorce him and take half his money. But she is too dumb to know that you were supposed to hook up with him in the early stages, build with him so that he can become rich and famous. And because you were too dumb to know that, he became rich and famous without you. And she's too stupid to realize, hey, maybe you should stop saying he's corny right now. The guy is worth millions of dollars. He is known throughout the world. So stop saying he's corny. Stop saying that you were making fun of him in his headshots, because you sound like the ignorant, stupid one. But do you see the conspiracy, the programming that they have replaced the astute, the educated Black brother who's working hard toward a goal, morally upright, and have made it in the eyes of Black women that the thug is the prize. Hey, Second Nefertara, you're absolutely right. The ones they call a geek today, they'll be calling their boss in the future. Well, I want you to understand something. You see, in the white community, the geeks in Silicon Valley are the ones that the white women are trying to get with now. Because they know that these geeks are very smart, they're geniuses, and that they'll one day not be rich, but be filthy rich. Elon Musk, Bill Gates. And let's not talk about I'm sorry, I'm just let's not talk about Jeff Bezos. Filthy rich, billionaire. Wife divorced him and took billions of dollars, but didn't make a dent in his wallet, you know. But we are the only people to have women who look down upon those brothers going to college, those brothers trying to make something of themselves, those brothers working hard as entrepreneurs. Oh, the women will support them if they're into sports, if they're into rap. So let's go back to the two examples I gave earlier of how Cardi B met with Biden, of how, was it Fat Joe met with Kamala Harris. If you don't see something wrong with that, then there's a problem. You see, they're not asking for educated brothers and educated sisters to meet with Kamala Harris and to meet with Biden. They're asking for the lowest of the low. And if you watch the meeting between Fat Joe and Kamala Harris, it was cringe. It was, I mean, look, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it like this. Let me just pull this up. If I can pull this up, I should have had this ready, actually. Did I even say his name, the Fat Joe, right? Let's see what this one says here. I mean, you had to have watched this to see this meeting between Fat Joe and Kamala Harris. Let me go to it right now. Let's see what the, because it did not work out for her, I guess, as she expected it to, you know?
With all the issues on top of voters' minds, the crisis on the border, crime, inflation, your Vice President Kamala Harris is about to hold a roundtable highlighting the importance of marijuana sentencing reform at the White House. And among the guests, rapper Fat Joe, which, Tommy, I think the older folks knew. But apparently they're trying to appeal to young voters. Is that the way to do it? And is that the right priority for her to hold?
Well, I think this week things have become very apparent that Kamala Harris cannot address certain issues like the border, but she can address two things that seem to be Democrat Disneyland, which is abortion and weed. And that is what the Democrat Party thinks of their voters. They think those are the issues that are going to get you out, abortion and weed. Unfortunately, they might not be wrong. So, and it might be a winning strategy for the Democrats. If they can play on those two issues, it gets people out to vote that might otherwise stay home. Weed and abortion. Sad reality, but it might be true.
And never mind the hypocrisy that she prosecuted almost 3,000 people for marijuana infractions when she was district attorney of San Francisco. No one's talking about that.
Emily, I'm going to have to quote Fat Joe here and say, what's love have to do with it?
This is a disgrace. To have the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, meeting with a rapper, Fat Joe, over marijuana. Not real political issues, but over marijuana usage. And in the meeting, which was broadcast, it shows you how illiterate and stupid Fat Joe is. He can't pronounce his words correctly. He doesn't know what certain words mean. He has a very limited vocabulary. This is why he repeats words often. It was disgraceful. It was just disgraceful. But we're the only people who will invite a rapper to meet with the vice president and not an intellectual brother who is the head of some community organization. You could have went to Howard University and plucked out any one of the graduates of Howard University to meet with Kamala Harris, and you would have had a very, very good discussion. Instead, you decided to go with Fat Joe, who, as far as I know, is not popular anymore. But it's so illiterate, it's not even funny. And to have Cardi B, and she's illiterate too, and she's stupid too, meet with Biden. Do you see the conspiracy here? Is to push out the educated Black young man and young woman to bring to the forefront these ignorant people from the bottom of the barrel of our community. And when people like Bill Cosby tried to address this issue by coming out with the Cosby Show, where it showed an affluent family, everybody attacked him. When Bill Cosby said, stop naming your kids Laquifa, they attacked him because he was part of the old guard. But behind this all, the culprits, State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard, Tavistock, Rockefeller Foundation, behind the curtain are these culprits, crafting the archetype, the image of the Black man and Black woman. brainwashing Black women, mother of the earth, so that she can get what the worst of the worst and have dysfunctional kids to keep this cycle going. This conspiracy has happened right under our noses, and we've done nothing about it. We have allowed these ignorant, uneducated buffoons to take center stage, to get movie deals, to meet with the heads of states, to get money. Snoop Dogg is a waste of air. He does nothing. He produces nothing. These people are ignorant. They're dumb. Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion are dumb. They're uneducated. They're cannon fodder. But see, they have taken the place of where you and I should be. You see, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, they're afforded opportunities to get involved and do product endorsements, start businesses. And none of them have gone to business school. Nor do they care. Because these deals are thrown at them, and they make multi-millions of dollars from these deals. When you and I have to scrounge, put together business proposals, and hope that someone will meet with us and see the potential in our startup company. But with these others, they've thrown money. The money's thrown at them. Because they serve a purpose, which is to destroy our image. To make it seem like we are the real drug dealers of the planet, when we know it's the United States. That we are the real criminals when we know it's the United States. You're never going to get the opportunities and the advantages that these uneducated, ignorant buffoons receive, because they're part of the agenda. Fat Joe sat up there with Kamala Harris talking about issue he didn't know anything about. He doesn't know anything about politics. He doesn't know anything about bills. Couldn't articulate his point. He was so ignorant. At one point, they had to tell him to shut up and let the vice president talk, because he was tripping on his words. Where you and I should be in the public spotlight, they have taken control. And they've only able to do that, not through their talent, not through their business acumen, because of the clandestine agenda of the white oligarchy. And they know that they've made their deals with the devil. And the one thing that sickens me about this whole Puffy thing and the whole trafficking, there are many people in Hollywood who know this is going on. There are many people in Hollywood who can name the names of people who are directly involved, like Corey did. but they're not saying shit. They're keeping their mouths closed. But then they'll come on TV and act like, and they'll say something like they're exposing something by giving you a little bit of a nibble. No, if you are sincere about making radical change in Hollywood, give us the names, publicly say it. Don't allude to this and say, well, you know, pedophilia is going on in Hollywood and everybody knows it's going on. Tell us who. Give us the names. Give us the locations. You see, everybody's staying shut. And they're talking about, yeah, we got to expose this. We got to expose this. Well, you expose it then. Say something. You'll know who's involved. But they're not really sincere about changing anything. See, all these people know that if they keep their mouths shut, they'll keep getting their money and they won't ruffle any feathers. So let's be quiet about it. And it's disgusting. I'm so tired of hearing so-and-so's coming out to talk about Hollywood or talk about the music industry. You're talking about it, but you're not naming the names. You're not giving up real information. Because you want to still secure your place in the machine. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to be a target. Because you know if you start naming the names, the powers that be are going to destroy your career. So everybody talks about wanting to do something, but no one's willing to really do something. This thing is bigger than Puffy. Puffy knows the names of the big time guys. And a lot of other people know the name of the big time guys, but no one's going to say it. There's the name Harvey Weinstein. He was a sacrificial lamb. He was not one of the big guys behind all of this. This thing runs deep. It runs deep. But no one is going to say anything. Because they all are foul. They all are complicit in this. They want to keep things as they are, keep their position in the machine, so they can keep raking in their millions of dollars and keep oppressing all of us in the country. If you like this message today, please donate to the channel. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.